Hello there and welcome to my channel. This is Non-Gone and today we're playing We Love Katamari. This is the Reroll and Royal Reverie that was released on June 2nd, 2023. We're going to be doing a speed platinum run. This is my third run of Katamari games in the recent months. I recently did Katamari Damacy for top time and also Katamari Forever, kind of as a lead up to releasing this game. So my time on this, the run is already done, was 3 hours and 47 minutes. And this video will show you the strategies and routes that I used so that you can improve on my time if you want. If you don't care about time, that's fine too. It's actually a pretty good route to platinum. So you know where to go and what to do to get it the most efficient way. So to get a top time here, you're going to have to play the PS4 version because of the cross-save PS5. It will auto-pop, and so the top times are like 1 second. But other than that, basically the route is pretty simple. You'll have to play every level in every mode, and then go back and play some of the ones that require cousins. You can only get one cousin on your list per playthrough, so those that have 3, you have to play 3 times. Through the course of that, you will also want to get 2,000 unique items out of the 2986. This is very different from the other 2 Katamari games in that those both require you to get every single item in the collection. So as somebody who has routed these, it is far easier to do this one than it is the other ones, because 2,000 out of 2986 is pretty much you're going to get that without even thinking about it. So I'm going to attempt to do all 58 of the minimum level playthroughs and give you tips and tricks all the way through. And we're going to attempt to do this in one video. So let's get started. So the first level is Soccer Boy. It is untimed, and you want to get Ace, which is the goal of the level. So get that, and then immediately switch to Ace and go back into the level for play 2. You will then have Slip appear, and so you want to grab Slip instead of Ace. Slip will not appear unless you are playing as Ace. Once you're done with that, we'll go to level 3, which is the Rainbow Girl. You want to get 3 dice and then these tiles, and then drop down and get these Hankos, and then run circles. Make sure you get Macho on a crayfish running around, and that's your first cousin, and quit at 15 centimeters. So you can pause, hit square after you get the goal, and your Katamari will count. You can finish, you can run out of time if you want and get as big as you want, but that will take longer, so it's up to you. Instead of going to the next level, go back into the Rainbow Girl, and you'll be forced into as fast as possible mode. Do the same route, make sure you get those Hankos right there, and there's no cousin, so once you get to the end, you're done. And that brings us to level number 5, and that's the Cleanly Mom. So there are 16 items up top here that you want to get, so don't leave till it says 84. Drop on the floor, get a couple Legos, then turn back and run 2 lines like this. Make sure you get L'Amour on the floor here, and then run around so you can pick everything up. Stay on the floor until it says 12 to go, and then come up this area. There's 6 items right here that are bigger, and then up this little keyboard, and there's 6 more, and you're done. The 6th level is the Float Boy, so we're going to be underwater. And this one, you want to stay in the first area until you're about 50. I find leaving a little early is fine, maybe like 43. And then go up through this chest and around the back here. And you should be big enough to get these crabs, and then just kind of run around until you get to 80. You can also creatively quit here once you hit the goal, so just hit pause and square, but make sure you get Marnie. This is an important cousin. Marnie's on a stingray floating around. I found the easiest way is to go up on this car and wait for him to come around, and then go back into float because you have to do the as fast as possible. There's no cousin to worry about this time. I like to start right here in the deep and just roll over here and wait for these 2 schools of fish. Once you can pick up these Haniwa dolls, run up through the little astronaut here and around to the roses, at which point you can kind of shoot around the back, and that's a pretty efficient way to get to the goal you need. And that should cover you for number 7. Number 8 is in the flower level with the flower lady. So you can quit when you get to 617 flowers. Again, just pause and hit square. If you do it early, it won't count. If you do it later, it will. Make sure you get Ichigo up here by the deer at the very top, but otherwise you can just go back and forth along these beds and pick up flowers. You should be fine. Go back in for level 9 in the same area. There's no cousin to get, and I'd go around the lake path at about 170. There's a lot of bigger ones that you can get right there, so that'll help you go quicker. Level number 10 is Lazy Bones. That's Make a Planet 2. The first time through, so you want to stay on the floor till you're about 10 centimeters. Come up on this table to get Can-Can, who's running around. Then just roll around, pick up what you can. Leave at 20 centimeters when it prompts you to. Leave as soon as possible. Grab all the sandwiches and stuff at the picnic and then head down the street. When you get the goal, 40 centimeters, you can pause and quit. Before you go to the next level, go do Lazy Bones again as fast as possible. This is number 11. And you want to make sure to get Havana over here on the picnic blanket. Stay up in this area until it says 15 to go, and then head down. When you get to about 5, you can go through these bricks and then get these dolls, and that'll be that. Moving on to number 12, you'll be forced to play the Black Dog level. You cannot pass at this moment, so just get one planet and then hit square and fail. So this brings us to the 13th level, which is going to be the Sweets, Hansel and Gretel. And you have to be 1.3 meters to pick up the boy and the girl and end the level. Of course, you can get bigger if you want, but it takes longer. My route is to go straight down here, roll around in the floor and walls of the house until you hit 1.3, and then roll to the outer ring. Make sure you grab Honey, the cousin, right here, and then roll right back up and pick up the kids, and you're done. Before you move on to the next one, do Sweets again. You'll be given a field with a bunch of wafers. Again, as soon as you get to 1.3 meters, just roll around. It's real easy. You can pick up the kids and be done. That's actually split number 1 for those of you that are timing it. My practice run time was 36 minutes for these first 14 levels with the creative quitting that we did. And my actual run, I shaved 7 minutes off of that. So I was able to do all 14 of those in 28 minutes. So not too shabby, huh? And as for trophies go, we'll have, I think, 8 different dreams that we've made come true, which is most of the trophy list. And then by this time, I'm sure you've picked up 100 unique items, so you should have that trophy as well. So that brings us to the campfire level, which is probably the most annoying and frustrating, hardest one in this game. There's a lot of ways you can fail this. If you don't pick up stuff quick enough, your fire will go out. If you touch water, the waterfall or the lake or the river, your fire will go out. If you run out of time before you get big enough, your fire will go out. Anyway, a lot of reasons your fire will go out. I'll be a little more in depth on the large one for a route. Just because it is difficult and you probably want some sort of guidance on this. So let's get started. So we'll start in the small level. You got to be 1.5 meters to light the fire. So start out right here and go up this way to get out of camp. You should be big enough to pick up the green melons, but not the orange ones yet. And then just head across the lanterns here and drop down to the belts and laundry detergent. That'll get you big enough to come back and grab the newspapers, and then you can go back down to the camp and pick up all the wood, make a lap around there. Head for these little green things, shovel-looking things, whatever they are, and then the sunflowers, and that should get you big enough if you're crossing there and picking up sunflowers to just pick up these logs, roll right up the ramp, and touch the fire at 1.5, and you're done. So the medium one's next. Just grab this circle of meat, I guess, and then head this way. Make sure you pick up as many mushrooms as you can on the way and whatever else you can. When you get to the wall, head left. You should be big enough to pick up this toilet paper and then these shopping bags. If not, then restart the level and find some other little things to get. It won't take that long. From there, you're big enough to go down into the area by the river, make a quick lap here. You get some size. You should be big enough to pick these mushrooms up on the way back, at which point you want to cross the bridge, the one that doesn't disappear when you go across it, and then head into camp, make a circle around there, head into the other camp, make a circle around there, and then head across on the sunflowers. You should be about 2.0 meters when you come over here. If you are, this is a good time to get the cousin. So he's the mushroom guy circling around the campfire, so grab that. And then if you head up at 2.0 meters, you can grab everything behind the cabin and be big enough to get these bushes on the way out. Head back down by the porta potty and get more bushes, and that should take you to 3 meters so you can go up and light the fire, and you're done. This brings us to the 17th level, which is Camper Guy Large, and that we want to stay up here until we're 80 centimeters. So grab these 8 kotakus first and then roll around the campfires and get whatever horns and whatever else you need. There's a piece of broken fence over here that leads down to the camp area, and you want to go over that. Make sure you go over this one, not the other one. Make a counterclockwise lap around the camp, come out and go up to the sunflowers like this, and that should put you at the cabin at about 2 meters. So again, we just go up and roll all the way around the cabin, and that should get us big enough to get these bushes. Come down here and grab these other bushes and keep going towards the area by the river. You can pick up all kinds of good stuff, picnic tables and signs and all kinds of things, and that should get you about 4. At this point, I like to go behind the waterfall, but be very careful. If you want to cheat and go the other way, you're just trying to get these trees on the other side. You need to be about 420 to pick them up, and they will disappear when you get up there for some reason. I think it's like a graphics glitch, but they're there and they'll get you up. Once you're there, head over to these tents. The green ones will take a little bigger, but if you get them all, you'll be at 6 meters, which is how large you have to be to finish this level. So congratulations, you're done. That was the hardest part. So after the camper, we get to a string of a lot easier ones, or a lot more straightforward ones. Playthrough 18, level 18 is going to be school, and you'll start up on the desks. Miso is the cousin who is up here. You may have to come back if you can't get big enough on the desks, but that's where the cousin is. You want to make sure to get that before you're done. Drop down and get these pails when you're big enough, and then over get the test tubes. At that point, you're big enough to go down the hall. There's toilet paper in the bathroom, and then across the hall, all this stuff in the teacher's lounge. Come back to the first room. There's a lot of small kids and desks that'll get you to 1.5, and you can quit when you get to the goal at 1.5. Before you go on to the next one, do playthrough 19 in the school as well. It'll be as fast as possible. You can get all the kids in this room and then move to the next. The counter should say 66 when you're done with that. Head to the next classroom. Huey is in that classroom running around with everybody else, and then clean out the fourth and the hallway and the final 10 students in the bathroom. Level 20 is Grandpa, and that's Make a Planet 3. This one has 3 cousins, so you have to do 3 playthroughs. As large as possible, basically you want to stay on the ground until you hit 18, and then go over to this coffee cup, and that's Johnson. So that's your first cousin. As soon as you hit 20, leave the area, go down the hill, stay in the upper part until you get to 30 centimeters, and then you're big enough to go in the lower part until you get to 50 centimeters. Go out as soon as it lets you through that gate. Head down around the town until you get to about 1.3 meters. Just pick up stuff in the middle of the road until you get there, and then head back where you started, and that should get you big enough to get to 3 meters. You can quit when you hit 3. We're going to go back into Grandpa again for as fast as possible, and the route will be exactly the same. When you come up at 1.3, Twinkle will be the cousin on top of the Christmas tree here, and you can just finish it up. We do still have one more cousin to get. It's Kuro in the schoolyard, so start another round of as fast as possible. Grab Kuro, and then continue the same route you've been doing, and you're done with 22 of the 58 levels. Next up is number 23, and these are the sumo levels. And I won't give you specific routes just because you're picking up food, and there's tons of food all around, so you shouldn't have any trouble. There's one cousin, which is Nick by the farm over here. At any point in these 3 levels, make sure you grab him. It's the only cousin, so you don't have to worry. You have to be 133 kilograms before you touch the sumo down here in the schoolyard, so make sure you're big enough. If you do it less, you'll fail the level. If you do it higher, you'll pass it. Once you do that, go back in and do the medium. You need to be 205 kilograms to win, and then do the large as well, and you need to be 296. So that's it for 25 of the 58 playthroughs. Nice job. So level 26 is going to be the cranes. There are 1,000 cranes on the level. You only need 500 to pass. There's one cousin. You have to be 80 centimeters to get him. It's Opio, and he's in the back corner of the bathroom. So you want to get size and cranes. Basically, you just want to roll around this first area and be pretty thorough picking up cranes. Do 1 lap clockwise until you're about 100 or 115. You want to come out in the hallway pretty close to 50 because that's what you need to pick up these lines of cranes that are worth 50 each. There's 2 here, and then like 2 more there, and then a little bump, and then a couple of more, and then you go up the balance beam, and there's more of those. You should be pretty close to 80 centimeters and over 300 cranes by the time you hit the bathroom, so you can circle around, get another line by Opio, and then the parrot's got one as well. That should take you to 80 centimeters, 500 cranes. If you have both of those and have the cousin, you can quit and go on to the next one. Level 27 is snow. It's probably the easiest one. Just make 1 roll around the edge here to get enough snow, and then La 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 is your cousin on the towel here. At that point, you can go straight to the middle and finish the level by touching this snowball. Number 28, fireflies. You have to be 1.5 meters to finish, and you have to go up and touch this kid at the end. The route I use is just go straight under the bridge here and go back and forth about 4 times. Head left into the little camp here, and then shoot across the river and stay here to about 1.3, at which point you can go up to the top of the mountain where you lit the fire in the campfire level, and get Dip, your cousin, and then drop down, and at 1.5 again, head back to where you started and end the level. Number 29 is Dr. Dog. He wants you to get friends. There are 300 on this level, but you only need 150 to clear. So the way I do it is I shoot out here and stay in the first area until I can pick up deer. It's right after your first level up. Get about 20 cousins here, pick up all the deer that you can quickly, and then head out to this area. Do 2 counterclockwise laps until you're about 2.5 meters, and then head into the jungle. Make a quick pass through there. There's a couple piranhas at the end, and then go to the farm until you get to 106. You should be able to get to the top of the hill here and get your cousin beyond, and then drop into the water. There's 45 animals in the water here, and they're pretty easy to get, so that should take you well over 150, and you're done with that level. We're going to go back in and do the dog again, only this time you got to get 100 animals as quickly as possible. Niamos is the cousin who's down here in the swamp on a crocodile, and so make sure you get that before you get to 0. I like to do a couple of passes around the farm here. There's a lot of little animals hanging on trees and posts and all that stuff, and some chickens up top. When you get to about 50, after being big enough to pick up the pigs, you can go in the jungle, and that'll take you to like 15 or so, and then back to the farm. Then we're going to do the racetrack. So you have to do as large as possible, then as fast as possible, and as fast as possible. And there's no real route because you can't control your Katamari. I like to stay on the track until I get to about 2, and then I can get the tires on the edge, and then that's big enough to pick up people. The most important thing is that you get one of the cousins each time you play, so you don't have to do more playthroughs. Odeko is up here rolling around the hill. Shy will be exactly the same place with Odeko the second time you do it, and then Nickel will join them on the third playthrough. So, like I said, get to about 3 meters and then go up there, and it's hard to get them because you're jumping and bouncing and ramping, but make sure you do that. Even if you do a bad playthrough on the runs, make sure you get the cousin each time so you don't have to do it again. And that'll do it for split number 2. I did this one in 117 on my practice run and then 110 on my actual run. So my total time on my actual run is 1 hour and 39 minutes for 33 levels. So not too bad. If you're going slower, you know, it might take you 4 or 5 hours, but not a bad problem at all. And we're already more than halfway done. All right, so we're going to start our third split by doing the added content, the Royal Reverie. You access that by going to this bamboo stick of memory. At this point, all 5 of these levels should be available to you. The first one is study. It's pretty easy. Just shoot off the table, grab these Legos, turn around, pick up the pencils, same as you did with the cleanup, and you'll be done in 20 seconds. The next one's ballerina. You will not be done in 20 seconds. You got to be 1.9 meters before you can pick them up. So get there as quickly as possible. I use the animal strategy, just first level to deer and get deer and then do 2 laps around until you're about 2.5. Now you got to find the 4 ballerinas that are hidden, and their placement is random. The only thing I can tell you is that I've never seen 2 of them in the same general area. So if you get one in the jungle, then you don't look for another one in the jungle. If you get one in the safari, don't look for another one in the safari. But otherwise, just shoot around and try to find all 4 of them. And good luck. 3 minutes is a good time for me. That brings us to Wheels, which is an auto-scroller. If you quit at any time before this timer ends, it will not count. So use the time to get all the unique items you can. There's no cousins. Or if you need a bathroom break, go for it. Fireflies is basically the next one. You got to pick up fireflies to punch that kid. So just start right here in the camp and then shoot across the river, just like in the firefly level. Run up to the top. There's a bunch of stuff floating around there. And by the time you pick all that up, you should be real close to depleting his health bar. I like to run back to where the start of the fireflies level is and finish up there. That takes us to night school, which if you hit a ghost, you will be done. If you get 1 musical instrument before you hit the ghost, you will pass. So you can drop down. There's a hard to find recorder under one of the desks here, and that's the quickest way if you can find it every time. If not, there's a castanet in the room to the right. That one seems safer and more consistent for me, but it takes about another minute to get. And as soon as you get 1 instrument, you can bump into any ghost and quit the level. And that's it for the added content. So that's it. Good thing this was a good game to begin with. That's going to take us to playthrough 39, which is Grandma or Make a Planet 4. You can quit at 12 meters, so we're going to be getting more involved and bigger here. And you also got to play 4 playthroughs here to get all the cousins. So on as large as possible, Fumin is your first cousin at the starting area here. You want to stay up here to about 40 centimeters, then drop down the stairs until about 60. You do want a bigger head start when you leave the 50 centimeter barrier. The items down here you can't pick up till you're about 80 in the town. But again, come back up to the starting area at 1.3 to get to 3 meters. You'll get a new 3 meter barrier here, and you can go out and just run down to the lower town. There's trees right here, and then when you get to about 5.4, you can pick up cars. Head up to the back corner to get these satellites, and then you can start getting trees and get to 12 pretty quick. Your second time around, you'll be in the as fast as possible. There is no cousin for this one. Find the Ferris wheel no matter where you start. It'll get you like 4 meters immediately if you hit all the cars. And then head down into the town and grab as many buildings as you can. When you're about 5 meters from being done, you can go up to the starting town, and that should get you real close to the end, and you can quit right when it's done. Go back into as large as possible for your third playthrough of this, which would be 41 of the 58 if you're keeping track at home. You're looking for cousin Mickey on the streets here at about 1 meter. She's or he is waiting in line for some TVs or something. But you can do the same route that you've been doing in this town up to that point. And then go back in and do as large as possible again. When you get to the lower town at 6 meters, you want to head out into the little beach area, and Velvet will be running around on a shark. So make sure you don't forget her. I have forgotten her many times. That's it for 42 of the 58. So let's go into 43, which is the baby, and that is 50 items. Make your way over to the jungle at the beginning, and you'll be looking for a cousin aptly named Jungle. And after that, you're actually trying to do bad at this level, so you want to pick up like bushes and stuff. The idea is to get as big as possible with 50, but we want to go as fast as possible. So pick up whatever you can. The farm is a great place to end quickly. That takes us to 44, which is the panda guy. And this is kind of interesting because you want to get 100,000 to be great, but you can quit at like $10. So the only thing you're trying to do is get to 90 centimeters so you can get to Odeon in the market. So just head down immediately into the streets, roll around the streets a little bit, and then head right into the market, pick up Odeon, and then pause and quit, and you're done. It doesn't even matter what dollars you have. So level 45 is a legendary level in Katamari lore, which is the cowbear level. Thanks to the generosity of the developers, though, you don't have to catch the cowbear to get the platinum for this. All you have to do for our purposes is get Daisy, the cousin. She's running around this track, and you can get her as soon as you start. Just make your way down there and avoid anything cow or bear. Number 46 is the Raincoat Girl. That's the cloud level. You have to do this twice because there's 2 cousins. Just start by getting the smaller clouds until you're about 20. June is over here jumping rope, so make sure you get her next, and you can quit when you hit 50 clouds. That's all it takes, 50. Go back in and do the Raincoat Girl again one more time to get Fujio, who's rising and falling above, fittingly, Mount Fuji. And again, you can quit after 50 and you're out of there. That brings us to the just right levels. That's small, medium, and large. We're going to start at small. You got to be pretty big to get Marcy, the cousin, on this. She's up on the top of the shoulder of the robot here. I like to go caramels, cookies, whatever's on this tray, glue, tapes, and then you should be able to pick up oranges. Once you're big enough to get the train tracks and the train, you should be able to roll up the shoulder and get Marcy without getting bumped too far. And then quit as soon as you get her. Medium level is next. That's 49. And Peso is the cousin you're looking for, who is in the back corner of this last classroom. I call it room 4. The bathroom's good to get size the toilet paper. The hallway's pretty good. And then once you get big enough to get Peso, get them and quit as soon as it lets you. Just right large would be the 50th level out of the 58, so we're getting almost done. This is the first time I suggest you reset to get a specific starting point. You want to look for the one that's right here in the water with the city in front of you, because Signola's right here and you can grab them right immediately. Stay in the city and pick up buildings until it lets you quit. It'll just take a minute or so and then you're done. That's also it for the third split that I did on my runs, and my split time for this was 106 and the practice run totaling 259. I was about 30 minutes ahead of schedule at that point, which is great. So I made up about 15 minutes during this split, so not too bad. And then we'll get into split 4, which is the last part of it next. Okay, so we're on the home stretch, and we come to the bird and elephant level, which is by far the most time critical level. There's a If you mess this up, you're going to add 10 or 15 minutes per mistake to your run. So if you care about time, then you're going to care a lot about practicing this level and making sure you get the king and the queen as soon as possible. If you don't care about time, there's an eternal mode after you finish, and you can just relax and do whatever you need to do to get them. Not a big deal. So I'm going to be a little more specific on a route here, just to make sure. There's 4 cousins, so you got to play on 4 playthroughs, and then you have to get the king, and you have to be about 3,200 meters to get the king, and then you'll have to get the queen, and you have to be about the same size, but you have to have already gotten the king on a prior playthrough. Make sense? So let's get started. So in the first level, you want to mess around in the town until you're about 3 meters. Shakeo is the first cousin to get over here by the TV store. And at about 2.5, you can come up to the farm, and that'll get you up to 3 pretty quick. Go immediately through the barrier and head down here and get the 3 Bs, I like to call them, the boxes, the bells, and then the beach. And then head left and up the hill to get these cars, and you'll be in the back corner, grab these cabs and the fossils. From there, roll around the town that you're in until about 12, and then hit the original town to get to about 20. That's when you want to go through the 12-meter barrier. If you grab a little bit of stuff on the way in this little town, you can come to this like Monopoly-looking houses by the Ferris wheel and roll all those up, and then shoot through these oil rigs and head left a little bit, and that should get you to the place with all the pagodas. From here, you can roll it up till you're about 50 to 55, and then drop down and get these islands and head towards the New York-looking town by the 60-meter barrier. If your clock says 8 or more, you're doing great when you hit 60. Head up through the Golden Gate Bridge, do a couple passes to get these pyramids, and then head through the forest, back through the original area to get you to about 200 meters, and then you want to find the mountains, and the clouds will take you to 300 with just those 4 clouds. At this point, my route differs from what I found on the internet. They have you shooting back and forth crazily between these islands that are far apart. I found that you can stay right here to about 1,000 meters, and it's a lot quicker and a lot easier. Just make sure you get all these light-colored desert islands. Don't leave until you're there, about 450 meters, and then roll around to the other islands here, and gradually you'll get bigger and bigger until you can pick up the dark islands from this area. And then you can pretty much get everything else, and you'll be close to 1,000 meters. At that point, it gets to be kind of random. Just shoot over to like the volcanoes or other random items. I like to hit the future, the floating island at about 1,500. The smaller clouds, you'll start to be able to get about 2,000, and then the bigger ones at about 2,500. When you get to 3,000 or around 3,200, you can bump into the king and grab the king. So make sure you do that. As soon as you get him, you can quit if you want. And that should do it for the first playthrough. The second one, which is 52 now, is going to be as fast as possible. Lucha is your cousin up in the wrestling ring. Make sure you grab them. And otherwise, just use the same strat to get to 1,000. The third one, if you got the king, now you're going for the queen. So do the same route. Make sure you peel off a little bit around 60 meters and go to this waterfall to get Natsuo floating around there. He will disappear when you get too big, so make sure you remember that. And then get the queen when you're big enough. And then level 54 is the 4th playthrough of Bird and Elephant. That's as large as possible as well. And Drewby will be right in your way at the Oasis. Grab her. And finally, if you got the king and queen, you can quit at the goal of 500 meters. You don't have to get to 3,000 again. And that'll do it for that. You should get a bunch more of the Make a Dream Come True trophies. You should also get, this should be your final cousin, Drewby. So if you've missed one, just look in the level select, and it'll show you right here which cousins you've got. So whichever one you're missing, make sure you go back and get that. And you should also be done with the Bird and Elephant level and get your trophy for the king and a separate one for the queen. Next one up you're going to do is the Black Dog, which is roll up the sun. You need to be 100 Cosmos large to pick up the sun. So get above 100 and then hit square and roll in, and you'll be done. It will take you directly to the credits without getting a trophy, so don't worry. And it is unskippable. So you can go for a bathroom break, whatever you want. You can try to get some score here. It does not matter. And when you get to the end of the credits, you'll get both trophies for the sun and the credits. When you first start the credits, make sure you pay attention to the number of items that you've got. If you are over 2,000, your 2,000 trophy should pop. If not, Don't worry, there's 195 countries to pick up in the next level. So if you're at 1805 or greater, you still got a chance. If you're lower than that, maybe you want to go back and play the sun level again and get some more of the planets. There's over 100 of those too. So, but that's going to take us into Dad. I don't know all of their names of the Hoshino family, but Dad has got a problem, which is the meteor is attacking the world. So this is playthrough number 57. It helps to have some geographical knowledge, like pick up about 10 countries here where you start and then head up through Asia. Europe's got some smaller ones, and then you should be big enough to get Africa. Again, get bigger and bigger, and when you get to USA and Russia, you should be able to be big enough to grab the meteor before it crashes into Earth. So you've got 57 down and just one to go, and that's by talking to the boy, Hoshino, Matsuo, and that's the cousins. There will be 39 to get. I suggest you play as either Ace or Dip because they both run around this tree and they're super annoying to get. I wouldn't want to get two of them in a run, especially not if I'm being timed. So if you play as one, you only have to get the other one. There's 23 cousins up top. They're pretty easy to see running around. I'd run through the level a couple of times so you know which ones to go for. Then there's 10 around the lap of the lake here. The last two you have to be really big to get, so save that for last. And then there's 6 cousins down at the bottom, and that should do it. Again, this is the 4th split. My practice time was like 4 hours and 30 minutes, I think, but I ended up at 3:47, so I made up even more time there. Again, those of you that are trying to beat the times, I encourage you to do it. There's lots of room for improvement. For those of you that are just trying to get the platinum, I hope this helped you where you were going. I'm really happy that I finished this. I'm happy that I'm currently holding all top 3 times for the non-Vita games of Katamari. But again, I'd be happy if someone else came and beat it. So thanks again for watching. I'm going to move on to the next game. I'm always open to suggestions. Let me know in the comments if there's a game you want to see. Try to do a speed plat. But yeah, thanks for watching. And in the meantime, stay bad, people. Non-gone is gone.